How Jose Mourinho exposed Pep Guardiola's 3-6-1, Tottenham 2, Manchester City 0, a tactical analysis. For cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to www.jerseyfever.com where they have the new season's jerseys, available from just $25. A link will be left in the description, and if you use the coupon code ATLANTISFOOTBALL, you'll get 5% off. Going into the game, we saw Jose Mourinho line up his side in a 4-2-3-1 with Lloris in goal, a centre-back pairing of Alderweireld and Dyer, Reguilon at left-back, Aurier at right-back, and a midfield double pivot of Sissoko and Højbjerg, as Bergwijn started from the left of the midfield, Son from the right, and Ndombele played in front of the double pivot in behind Kane, who started up front. Guardiola used what looked to be a 4-3-3 with Ederson in goal, a centre-back pairing of Ruben Dias and Laporte, with Cancelo at left-back, Walker at right-back and Rodri playing as a deep single pivot in midfield with De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva in front of him. Ferran Torres was the left winger, Mahrez started from the right, and Gabriel Jesus played as a centre-forward. From the start of the game, we could see the contrast between the two sides' style of play. Guardiola's 4-3-3 shape became a 3-6-1 of sorts, which is a system I discussed in my recent video looking at the systems of the future, which you should check out after this video. The 3-6-1 consisted of Walker tucking in alongside Laporte and Diaz to create a back three in possession, whilst Cancelo, the fullback on the other side, pushed into midfield playing as an inverted fullback, alongside Rodri, which created a midfield double pivot. This then allowed Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne to push higher up the field, looking to find space in the half spaces, whilst Mahrez and Ferran Torres kept the advanced width in the system. If you wanted to break down City's 3-6-1 further, you could call it a 3-2-4-1, however Silva and De Bruyne's movement was very fluid, so we would see them drop deep alongside the double pivot at times, or pull wide if Ferran Torres or Mahrez moved in field. Before I get further into the analysis, if you enjoyed the video, and only if you enjoy it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a like, and after this video check out some of my other videos which will be linked in the description below. I've got a lot of interesting videos coming up in the next few weeks which you won't want to miss out on. So Mourinho instructed his side to drop into a compact narrow 4-4-2 shape with Ndombele and Harry Kane playing as a front two when City had the ball. The front two didn't press aggressively, they would allow City's centre-backs to have the ball in their own half and instead would look to cut off the passing lanes into City's deepest midfielder, which was Rodri. When City were able to move the ball into Tottenham's half, Tottenham's midfield sat incredibly deep with Sissoko and Højbjerg almost on top of their centre-backs, meaning there was little to no space between the lines of the Tottenham system for Gabriel Jesus, Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne to drop into. While City were using a possession-oriented approach in possession, Tottenham in possession were far more direct. City pressed them aggressively from their build-up, and we can see here that as Lloris gives the centre-backs the ball, City are immediately ready to press with the front three sitting high and narrow, and De Bruyne pushing up behind them, ready to press Højbjerg if a pass goes into him. Because City's fullbacks had to contend with Bergwijn and Son sitting very high up the pitch, it was up to Bernardo Silva and Rodri to move out towards the fullbacks when they received the ball. When Tottenham were able to retain possession in the middle third, Manchester City would drop into a 4-1-4-1 shape, but we didn't see this often because Tottenham's direct style of play led to a lot of turnovers or Tottenham being able to work the ball into positions which would allow them to then directly run at City's back line. This is where Tottenham were able to exploit City's press by moving the ball from in to out quickly, drawing City's central midfielders tight on Ndombele and Sissoko, and then moving the ball out to the fullbacks who had massive amounts of space. City's press was not aggressive enough to win the ball back in central zones, and therefore when Tottenham were able to shift the ball out to the flanks, there was space for them to drive the attack forward into City's defensive third. Kane was a focal point of the attack. He dropped deep from the forward line, playing as a false 9, which firstly allowed Tottenham to feed direct vertical passes into him that would then allow him to link the attack, and secondly drew Laporte and Diaz out of the back line, creating space for Bergwijn and Son to make runs in behind the back line. This meant that in possession Mourinho's side were effectively playing a 2-4-1-3, with Ndombele playing in front of the double pivot in a free role, which reduced his defensive responsibilities and allowed him to play higher up the pitch, while Son and Bergwijn played like wide forwards, making runs from out to in. It was this pattern of play that was seen with Tottenham's first goal. Here we see the original error comes in midfield, as when Ndombele moves to receive the ball, Rodri and Bernardo Silva do not react, which means when Ndombele does receive the ball, they can't get to him quickly enough to stop him being able to turn on the ball. This is a problem because City are playing a very high defensive line. The next mistake, however, is a main factor behind the goal. City's backline are already high up the pitch, and Kane makes his usual movement deep, pulling off from the forward line. There is a miscommunication between the City centre-backs, which leads to both Diaz and Laporte pushing up to track Kane's movement, and neither dropping off as they should, anticipating the ball over the top. Cancelo is also also not close enough to Laporte to track Son's terrific diagonal run, and therefore Ndombele's pass splits the City backline and puts Son through on goal. The third mistake comes from Ederson. Here we see that Son's touch doesn't actually take him through on goal. If Ederson just stays in his 6-yard box, Son is probably cutting back and meeting Cancelo for a one-on-one in the box. Instead, Ederson makes Son's decision for him, and Son slides the ball under the keeper to give Tottenham the lead. City did dominate possession throughout the game, with both sides seemingly playing different mini-games within the game. Tottenham were essentially just trying to stop City getting into the space in behind their midfield, whereas City were the aggressor, trying to work the ball in behind Tottenham's midfield and back line, which led to a game resembling attack versus defence, which was only accentuated by the fact that Tottenham did grab an early goal. Tottenham were able to take the lead into the break, but it didn't feel like City had played bad, more that Tottenham had done an excellent job of cutting off City's point of attack, which was getting the ball into Silva and De Bruyne in the half spaces. We saw Tottenham continue to do this into the second half, with Tottenham's midfield double pivot of Sissoko and Højbjerg sitting very deep, closing up the space between the midfield and defence, but also dropping into the back line on occasion, playing as a temporary third centre-back. We see here that Højbjerg has dropped into the left-sided centre-back position in the back 5 in order to stop De Bruyne being able to make that run between Dyer and Reguilón and getting behind Tottenham's back line in a crossing position. This did open up space in the centre of the pitch where Højbjerg had vacated his position. However, Tottenham were able to deal with this by having Ndombele drop slightly deeper to cut off the passing lane into this space, and also Dyer and Alderweireld were exceptional throughout the game as stepping up from the back line to make an interception or make a tackle in a way that City centre-backs weren't able to do, and this resulted in both of Tottenham's goals. For Tottenham's second goal, we saw a perfect example of Mourinho's quick transition in attack, as the ball falls for Toby Alderweireld. Instead of playing a short pass and looking for a methodical way to work the ball up the pitch, he instantly plays a vertically direct pass over the City midfield into Harry Kane, who's dropped off into the space between the City midfield and back line. Kane is then able to turn and dribble forward, pushing the attack forward. Because Bergwijn and Son are allowed to sit higher up the pitch as wide forwards at times, they were able to make them early diagonal runs in behind the City back line, which forces Diaz to move narrow to close off this run, leaving space wide of him for CELSO to make a run into. He receives the ball from Kane's pass, and once again Ederson comes out far too far, making it easy for CELSO to slot the ball underneath him and take the game away from Manchester City. Overall, Man City didn't play terribly in this game. They were able to dominate possession and push Tottenham back into their defensive third frequently. However, Tottenham's deep compact shape combined with their positional awareness and discipline in midfield, especially the double pivot of Højbjerg and Sissoko, in closing up the space that Silva and De Bruyne were trying to make runs into, meant that Guardiola'S side weren't able to create enough high value chances. City did record the higher XG in this game, 1.66 to Tottenham's 0.76. However, City weren't really able to target Tottenham's weak points, as well as Tottenham were able to expose City's. Mourinho won this battle because of two main factors. The first was defensively, as I spoke about, with the role of Sissoko and Højbjerg, and the second was his use of the front three. City's main defensive weakness is the runs in behind their high defensive line, and Kane's passing ability and movement deep, combined with Son's excellent diagonal runs from out to in, meant that Mourinho's side were perfectly able to open up City, and because Tottenham were able to take those chances, Mourinho's game plan worked perfectly. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and check out some of my other videos which will be linked in the description below. I've got some interesting videos coming up in the next few weeks, so make sure you click the bell so you get notified when those videos come out. Also go to the comment section and give me your view on the game as well.